Hello and welcome to the Legends of Tabletop podcast. We are here tonight to talk about our experiences at PAX. We have a couple of new faces, one old, not old, but kind of like has been here before. It's been a while. I mean, you get it. So we're going to go around the horn. We'll have everybody do introductions. We'll start with Amy.
Hey, I'm Amy Tate. My pronouns are she, they. I am a mental health professional in my day job, and I edit for an indie RPG called Dust and Dorks, and then I demo with different companies at cons. So I was demoing with Incredible Dream at PAX.
Nice. Chad, you want to go ahead?
Sure. I am Chad. I have podcasted as Keeper Chad. I write as Charles Gerard. I know it's confusing. Please take notes. I podcasted on the Miskatonic the University podcast for about 8 years and then quit in 2019. But
retired, passed the torch.
Sure.
It seems,
sure. Insert euphemism. I am not there anymore. What else? And I've written for the games industry just a little bit for Darker Hues Studios, for Onyx Path. That would be Haunted West and Masks of the Mythos. Most recently, a little bit of Call of Cthulhu and more in the future that, you'll find out about later.
You have a big thing coming up, right? Spoilers?
Yeah.
All right, we'll move on from that.
That's as much as I can. I am legally allowed to say. So
yeah. All right, Leslie.
Hi everyone, my name is Leslie. So I mostly play on this podcast. So if you listen, you probably heard me playing one of the games recently. Otherwise, my day job is completely different, but this you can see all around me. This is what I do in my spare time. And I'm kind of the forever GM, so it's fun to play on this channel and get to hang out with these guys.
Nice. Jesse?
I'm Jesse. My day job is unimportant because it's retail. If you don't know me by now, you've never listened to Legends of Tabletop.
Welcome to the podcast.
Right.
Yay, new people.
Yay.
But yeah, I mean, I've done a couple other podcasts that have run their course. John's been on both of those. And yeah, just talking PAX stuff. It was also my very first PAX Unplugged.
Oh, that's awesome.
And my first gaming con in a decade, if you don't count Necro. So,
wow.
Fair.
Right on.
And I am your erstwhile host, John. Again, if you listen, you get it. It's fine. I haven't seen a podcast that I haven't liked. Been on so many podcasts now. It's stupid. And yeah, we're going to just talk about PAX. So, Jesse, you said this was your first one. It was my first one. Yeah. We know Leslie's been to numerous PAXs.
I started going in 2018 was my first
to
one.
PAX U?
Nice.
To PAX
Unplugged.
Yep.
Yeah, I was there 2017, the first year. So it has already grown a lot. Like the free play area could not find space at all. And I swear even last year, you would go and at least like 20% of it would be free. So
it was way bigger this year. Yeah.
Well, I think we're coming out like post-pandemic. So people are starting to do some things more well post, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Post people doing anything. and so there's a lot more, I think attendance is picking back up to sort of like, not just pre-pandemic levels though, like they definitely have exceeded it. Like this, I don't know what the exact numbers were this year, but it was at least as packed, if not more so than prior. So it was great to see so many people and see so many activities going on and all that kind of stuff. So that was fun.
Yeah, I think it was 30 plus. I didn't see a hard number.
Oh man.
But yeah, I mean that's their normal-ish, I think.
Like
Which-
2019 level.
Yeah, well, so that rivals what? So when I went to PAX East back in 2012, I think it was around that 35,000, something like that. So I guess it's good to see that it rivals that, not the original, right? Because I guess PAX Prime is the original, but like, those older, PAX conventions, that there's that much interest.
Mhm.
Well, and I think PAX, the people in charge at PAX do a really good job of bringing in really awesome content creators and really working with like only panels I think I've been to at a board game con have been PAX U. One, because I've actually had a little bit more time at PAX Unplugged, but also like because they're really interesting. And they do a good job of like having a variety of events.
Yeah. I think the only thing that I heard people kind of like wishing they had more options were like just games to play, really. Like there were a lot of different like types of games to play, but just not enough people to run, not enough games for people to be able to get into, at least as far as like tabletop RPGs. I'm not sure on the board game side because I was just kind of like hit or miss wandering around looking at things on board games. But yeah, for the TTRPGs, I really felt like what I was hearing from people was we loved what we got to do, but it was just hard to get into things. It's just not as many like slots for people to fit into for the games.
I wanted to get your take collectively on that because it's an unusual setup, right? You can't sign up
Register
for anything.
before.
Yeah, it's all kind of spur of the morning, and you have to scrum a little bit for in the morning to get in line and get up to the sign up tables. That's the only. I haven't been to a ton of conventions, but enough that I've never seen that before. So, what do you think of that? I've heard complaints. There are upsides that I can see, but what do you all think about that?
I didn't care for it. I mean,
Yeah.
So I got the questionnaire or whatever afterwards, like the PAX survey, and apparently you could pre-register on the app, which I had no idea because they're like, "Oh, did you use the pre-register?" I was like,
Barely.
"No."
Yeah, but barely. Like I think they opened it like the day before. I mean, we were on the train or I was on bus and Tim was on train, signing up. And you could sign up early in the morning, like 8:00 on Friday, I think. So it wasn't.
I think that's what the pre-register was doing it early in the morning.
Yeah, so not like certainly not like Gen Con.
Wild though.
8 months ahead of time,
Yeah,
Well,
like my gamer group does the LGBTQIA lounge at Origins, and we're like our person that does it is already making our thing because people like schedule basically as soon as they get a badge. I'm not as familiar with the scheduling because I'm usually demoing, so I usually don't have a badge number until I get there. But our stuff, I know for Origins this year, our stuff filled up months in advance, and I do think that's because Origins did not have enough events going on. But that's wild because if you're GMing, you don't know if anybody's going to be in your game until the day of. Like that seems more stressful than necessary.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean the problem that we ran into as well is that we'd try to sign up for a at least for me, like I'd try to sign up for a game and not get into my first choice. And it's like, okay, that's fine. Well, but by that time,
it was all gone.
Even if you're 5 minutes, if you're, forget 5 minutes, if you're 2 minutes past, every game is full at that point.
Yeah.
So you can't, you're if you get into your first choice, that's great. If you don't, then you don't get into anything.
Yeah.
And you're done. You have no games for the day unless you want to try to hit up. I think that's why free play was so packed.
Yeah.
And we wandered around free play for a little bit and there were no open tables because I think that's where most of the people were going at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually said something. I went by the close your ears, John. I went by the Monty Cook Games
Scandal
group.
John's Monty Cook's #1 fan.
Which is funny because I probably am. I'm a huge fan, which is really funny. So John and I just don't talk about it. We agree to we just don't discuss it. But to this topic specifically, I went and I talked to them, and I was like, I didn't notice a whole lot of their games being run. I think somebody was running like the Old Gods of Appalachia, maybe.
Yes,
Mhm.
they were.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Which I would love to have gotten into. And I said something to them about like, hey, are you guys thinking about like next year organizing more game masters or whatever? And they were like, well, actually, we weren't quite sure what was going on. I got the impression from their side of things that it wasn't really clear to them either what to do or how to do it.
Not good.
Really?
Yeah. So if you're
Yeah. I get a sense, that
if
they
your
don't know.
publishers are having a hard time figuring out what they need to do to get game masters to run their stuff, then you're going to end up with what we ended up with, which was not enough games for people. So I think that it was some, maybe just some organizational communication type things that just aren't quite gelling maybe yet. And
But after 5 years, that's something that they should have figured out, right? Like, if that's what people are coming for, is to play games, right? Like that should be.
This system was brand new for this year. They had never done this registration system before.
Well, they had to. Okay, they hadn't done the app thing at all, and I don't.
Right.
Think I don't think it worked very well. I mean, functionally it didn't work very well. It crashed around that 8 o'clock hour, and what happened to me happened. What happened to you happened to me. That's that same thing. Like
Oh, really? Yeah.
Tim, we were signing up at the same time. Tim and I, my friend Tim, who I roomed with, and we were signing up at the same time at 8 o'clock, and just whatever connectivity difference or whatever, we couldn't get into the same game. So, and I couldn't.
Too.
Yeah, I couldn't get into the game at all, and had to hedge my bets and show up and kind of hope that maybe somebody would drop. In fact, I ended up at that same table, but it was
nice,
quite a lot of investment, standing in line and kind of like the anxiety of not knowing and all that.
Yeah.
But the two, so this is my third, and so it's all been sort of pandemic, and I won't call it post-pandemic either, but the change.
Après pandemic.
Après yeah.
Considering multiple people that I work with are out with COVID right now.
Right. I've heard some con stories this year. Anyway, so they did before is the sign up in the morning thing. And I don't know if they've been doing that forever,
really?
But since 2021 was my first, 22 second, and this year the third. And they did that thing where you just kind of show up in the morning and they have these tables of fillable, slots. And that's it. And that is just for the organized games. And then I guess they have the ad hoc ones. Would you call it free play? So they had that too. So all that was operating. But also the numbers were way lower in 21 and 22. So
yeah, as you'd expect, right?
Yeah.
Well, so at one point, we wound up playing a Simba Room game together, only because I think in the morning we had gone down and were schmoozing with the people over at Free League, just walking around, talking to the demonstrators and all. And we had registered in the morning, got in with a confirmation that you're 29 out of 32 or whatever it was, and we went down and we're pull the app up here. Oh, wait a minute, it says I'm not registered. So Leslie got in. Jesse and I registered, got a confirmation with a number, and then pulled up the app and was like, "You're not registered."
Oh man!
And she let us in. But I think the only reason we got to play is because we had been down in the morning for 15, 20 minutes, a half hour, just kind of bullshitting and kind of hanging around.
Well, she also said so that was what, 4 o'clock on Friday, something like that.
Somebody else
maybe earlier. And they said that had happened numerous times to them already.
Yeah, which is not a them problem, right? Like, okay, well, we have
not at all
registered, so sorry, but we can't. But I think because we had been there, and we had all been together too, right?
Yeah. Well, and they ended up with a certain number of no-shows, I think. So there was some space too. It looked like, but yeah, it was definitely a little chaotic.
Yeah.
The whole like signing up in the morning thing. I can see the perspective of like if you're traveling from a really long distance away and there's some games you really want to play and that's what you're there to do, that kind of sucks. That you don't have any guarantee that you'll be in anything that you wanted to do. I go kind of for a little bit more of socializing reasons and like to see, like I came to see these guys, and so while I would have liked to have gotten into maybe another game or two, it wasn't quite as big of a deal to me because of that reason. But I know that I'm not like necessarily like the mainstream audience for that.
Yeah. Right.
I think I would have been really frustrated if I tried to register with a friend and like one of us got in and the other didn't. Because then like if that's the friend that you're going around con with, you all of a sudden have to walk around on your own or just like hang out and hope that you get into the game.
Yeah, it's a big disruption.
Yeah.
Did you try to get into anything, Amy, while you were there? Or
I was
did the
working
demo
in the
time...
I was working in the mornings. So with the system they have in place, basically like I couldn't do it and get to the thing. And then also, again, with my foot getting stuck in the escalator Friday morning, I was like not in a place to do a lot of like mental things besides like demo the game. And then I helped out and went to Big Gay Dinner because I know the people putting that on through the Rose Gauntlet Foundation. Nice. And then like other times I was like, I'm just going to like go with whatever my friends are doing. I don't have executive functioning right now. Yeah. If anybody got stuck on an elevator Friday morning, I'm sorry. My shoe legitimately got stuck in the elevator. Childhood nightmare come to life. I'm okay. PAX bought me new shoes so that I did not have to walk around.
That's awesome.
I lost an inch off the top of my shoe.
I saw that.
Could we hear the whole story beginning
John sent me the picture that you sent him so I could show it to my kids as a warning of this is why you don't mess around on escalators.
And I was not messing around because like when I say childhood nightmare, like I literally cried as a child. Like I jumped over the ends of escalators. I don't know if there was like a Goosebumps book or like Are You Afraid of the Dark or something that freaked me the heck out, but it did. So yeah, like Friday morning, I'm like, I got my stuff. I actually got breakfast from Ready Market. I was like, oh, I'm early. Yay. Cause I'm doing with a new team. So like, I want to be like a good team player. And I like get to the top of the elevator or escalator and my foot, basically the rubber of my sole got stuck on the prongs of the escalator thing. And the sole just started getting sucked under. And thankfully my shoes were fabric and cheap. So they ripped and I could pull my foot back. But the people behind me were like pushing me forward. And thankfully I made some sort of noise that was not English because I was really freaked out. And two of the enforcers, one hit the emergency stop, one got my leg, pushed my leg back so that my toe, because it almost had my foot at that point. It hit where my toes were basically. And they had to help me like rip my foot out.
Panic.
And then they're like, are you okay? And I'm like, I think so. And then the facilities lady is like, has your shoe always been like that? And I'm like, no. Like, I'm thinking, like,
has your shoe always been in two pieces?
And then she's like, is your foot okay? And I was like, I think so. And then she walked off. So like, I'm like in shock a little bit. I go and like sit down for a second because I literally was like shaking and I was like, okay, I'm going to eat like 3 bites of my breakfast. Like, and then I go in through security. I see my friend who's on the phone, show him my shoe, and he's like, and then I was like, I have to go. And I just like walk past while he's having his phone conversation. And I go and sit down at the booth, and then I start shaking.
Yeah.
Because like definitely delayed response. And then my like new team people come over. Again, I met these people the night before at dinner. And then they come over and they're like, are you okay? And I'm like, I don't think so. This is what happened. And then they convinced me to talk to PAX because I'm a therapist in my day job. And sometimes I don't ask for help when I need it because I'm usually the one doing help. And I was like, I don't actually think I can stand up and walk right now. I'm still really shaky. So they got a staff member to come over and talk to me. And then another person came over and checked in on me to make sure I was okay. And then they brought me 2 pairs of shoes and let me like try them on and stuff. And then the enforcers that basically saved my foot came over and said, hey, later. And then someone checked in on me again. So yeah, they actually gave me like, I have a chunk of basically my shoe, it doesn't look like my shoe material very much anymore because it got like smushed completely in the escalator. But basically because they shut it down like when I did it and it was just stairs or whatever, and it was working Saturday and it wasn't working Sunday. The piece they gave me is definitely not the whole entire part of the shoe that got in there. So I'm guessing like parts of my shoe were fiddling it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Still. So yeah. I'm gonna like put the
That's
little piece
crazy.
in resin or something.
Definitely
Yeah.
make like a
Right, yeah, there you go.
dodecahedron die out of it.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
Yeah.
I'm a dice goblin, so like
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
just like I fought the escalator and I won. So,
Yeah.
yay me.
Right.
There you go.
Right.
Yeah,
Is that a 1 or is that a fumble or is that a crit?
I don't know. I literally had dreams that escalators were chasing me, which like outside of the dream, fucking hilarious, right? Sorry, I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss. But like
Yeah,
hilarious, completely.
Fuck yeah.
Inside the dream, way less fun.
Yeah, right.
You know what it was? It was a failure on the luck check, but a success on the dex.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
Which is
Yeah.
not normally something Amy in real life is good at. No.
Yeah.
That was my Friday morning.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
way to start the
It's a
Good
hell of a
class.
start. Yeah.
Mm.
Best story though.
Oh.
Now that
Well,
I can
yeah.
think
Yeah,
about escalators.
Podcasting gold, bright side.
Great story, but oh my
Yeah.
god, the full body visceral reaction to that.
Right.
Like
Ugh.
I had leg cramps. Like they're just starting to go away because
Oh,
in
no.
my sleep I'm tense. I was tensing my foot up, and like I would wake up with like my foot like fully contracted
Oh.
into my body,
Oh,
and I'm like, okay, brain, we need to chill a little bit. I still gotta walk around Philly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that is crazy.
They were like, you seem way more chill with this. I'm like, honestly, I'm freaking out, but I can put it
Yeah, this
aside
is
for
shit.
now.
Yeah.
all
So,
on the
like,
inside.
All mass.
good.
All mass.
You can disassociate a little bit. It's fine. You need a little
Right.
disassociation as a treat.
It's a feature, not a bug.
Exactly. Got to keep it interesting. It was like my 5th PAX. Something had to happen.
Right. You just can't have the same thing happen over and over again. You gotta keep it fresh.
Yeah. So what was y'all's favorite part? Like what things did you enjoy while you were there?
Well, keeping it game wise, my favorite thing would not be game wise. I have to say that. But keeping it game wise, I
Oh,
did
now
get
what
to
was your
play-
favorite thing then?
Well, it
Don't-
was
don't
social,
push the-
and
yeah.
it was just it was social, and I relate to that. I'm in New York, so this is a day trip to me. I mean, I didn't go there and come back in one day, but 2 overnights and only paid for Saturday. So I am the imposter in this group. I only go for one day. It's cheaper. I don't take off work on Friday. I go late, show up, have dinner. Don't buy the pass for that day. I just buy the day pass for Saturday, and then leave on Sunday and like still have a normal, not tiring Monday after a
Yeah.
con.
There you go.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool that way, but I recognized this year, maybe because it's kind of in full force again, numbers wise, that I had FOMO. I do feel like I missed out on having a full day on Friday, and Sunday is always on cons is always kind of like everything closes early. The vendor hall is kind of meh. Often, I mean, at least by the time I wake up. So I don't know. I might extend it, but anyway, my favorite thing has always I because of the way the games are a little bit broken so far in the 3 years, the sign up situation. I don't love that. I have shifted my strategy to spontaneous gaming, which is something I don't do at other cons. So I go more toward games on demand, which I love, and have always had a great experience with. So my favorite thing you asked, and I haven't answered, is I got to hang out with some Free League and Chaosium people in the evenings. So that's what I did.
That's
and
awesome.
I know those people from various circles. So it's kind of a reunion. It's checking in. It's socializing. It's going to bars. So
Yeah.
it's a different con,
Yeah. Yeah. And your favorite game? Was there something you played at the free play?
Yes, I did get into just by standing in line, I got into the 1 hour demo of Walking Dead for free.
Did
you
from
like
Free
it?
League. I did really like it.
Hmm.
And Tim, who is a New York friend, gaming friend, bought it, and so now like we'll probably play it. And it's not even, I'm not obsessed with that world. I watched maybe 3 seasons. I will go back maybe sometime and watch more. But I liked the zombie thing. It was fun. It was 1 hour. It was a good demo. The game runner was super competent, and from Free League, and so that was good. And I really like the mechanics. They remind me of Alien, their other game. They have a
It's that
stress.
same system.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's the same, but they have
Similar.
the stress die that you add is similar, and I really like that mechanic, where you can kind of accept stress for greater chances to be awesome, but there are costs. Love that. So anyway, but it was a good table. It was 6 people, 6 players, and it was 1 hour. I kind of maybe really like short con games, like 1, 2 is that sort of demo zone where just get a sense of the mechanics. If it is, sometimes you get into games that just don't have the right energy, then the you're not in for 4
Commitment.
hours if that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did kind of like that. And that was a good game. That was fun. We I won't tell the whole gaming story, but it was a parking garage situation in a zombie world, and there were factions on top of there was an ambulance that we were trying to get medicine from, and factions and negotiating, a lot of role play. So it was good.
Oh, good.
Yep.
Nice. I mean, for me, it was you guys. I mean, that's the only reason why I went. I mean, otherwise I wouldn't. Like, I wouldn't have gone to that on my own, on the chance that I would run into Chad or, any of the other, people who, could have been there, right? It was just to come out and hang out with you guys. So, like, success, right? Like, we got into one game. We had a great game. It was fun. I wish we could have played more things. But with it being Jesse and I's first convention, like, I had no expectations as far as how things would sort of shake out. Like, you guys brought board games, and we thought maybe we'd do some role-playing games at the house or whatever, and like, we didn't go back to the house until like midnight, and drank and crashed, right? Like, we didn't spend any time there. So whether we would do that differently in the future, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, that was it for me. I mean, it's the same thing at Necronomicon. The only reason I go is to hang out with everybody. I mean, we're out until 2:00, just telling stories and drinking and hanging out, and like, air quotes, everybody is there. So like, that's it. That's a win. You come out for 4 or 5 days and just get a chance to reconnect with everybody, and that's what last Necronomicon was the first time I'd ever played a game because of the time commitment to sit and play, because you're only there for a couple days. Like, if I'm doing this for 4 hours, then I'm not going to see all these other people. Yeah. But I played with Oscar, so it was like, I have to do that, because as much as we've played online, we had never played in person. And I was like, wow, I'm just gonna register, but like, because we can play online. If people are coming to Necronomicon to play with him, I feel shitty about registering for a game, right? Because the access is different. So, people, like, that's the chance that they're going to get to play. I don't want to be in a game that denies someone else to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sure. I'm doing it at Total Con. Whatever.
Well, I told him, and he was like, no, just do it. I was like, all right.
You also deserve playtime.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Fair point.
I really felt like Free League did a great job. Like, we played Symbarum and had a great time. Like, our game was technically like a 4-hour like full session. We ended up with a really fun table, and it was shenanigans, and my character died a terrible death because I can't roll under a number to save my life. Literally.
Me either. I love dice and they hate me.
It was very
Leslie had
ironic.
an awesome D&D session.
Yeah.
Yeah, I roll like 90s, 99. Like my first roll in a Call of Cthulhu game I was doing recently with
Oh,
people.
jeez.
And I'm like, that tracks with me. And it's always ones in D&D. Like, okay, guys.
Awesome.
We just determined that in that game I needed to be the DM. Clearly my dice were like, you're running this, right? Like
Right.
this is what's happening, right? That's what you usually do. But yeah, we had a fun time. The guy who ran it, his name was Doug,
Doug.
right?
Yep.
He did a really excellent job. He was
Yeah.
an excellent DM. So I felt like, Free League really had their shit together, and they were running some fun, good games. So thumbs up to them.
I'm going to be GMing at Origins, so if anybody has tips, I've never GM'd for random people or GM'd at a con before, and I'm doing both of those.
Nice.
So,
Both
let me
feet.
know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, of course.
Awesome.
We're doing Moonlight on Roseville Beach, and I was like, sure,
Oh,
I'll run that. Never played it before, but I love it, and I've watched people play it, so.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. That was the second thing, is I got to see Richard at his booth. Richard Rook, who wrote that.
Mhm.
Cool.
Did I get his name right? Please fact check me. Rook,
I
right?
don't-
Rook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know the name of the game. I'm not.
Yeah.
Is it?
It's our Rook Studios, so you got at least the
Yeah.
Great.
I follow
Partial
him
credit.
on all social media, and I can't remember either now, so it's not just you.
He GM'd for Symphony, and I played in that game, so it was nice to meet him in
Yeah.
person.
Oh, cool.
It's like
Yep.
queer horror in bikinis, which is like all of my favorite things.
Yeah, it's like pulp queer novels of the 60s. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Takes place in late 70s, I think.
Nice.
So I don't know. I feel like I had lots of highlights. We went and saw Acquisition Inc. too for the first time.
Oh,
Hmm.
Yeah.
So Jesse, I'm like, am I pointing the right direction? Jesse.
You are, yes.
Jesse was a fan and had said we should try and make it. And I'd never actually watched them like ever on anything.
Oh, ever?
Ever. That was my
Oh,
Did you
really?
To the
That was my-
podcast?
that was my first chance to see them was live. I thought it was pretty
You never saw Critical Role's daddy?
No. I got into Critical Role in season 1 and watched through like the beginning of the latest season, and then got kind of sidetracked watching the entirety of all of Dimension 20 stuff.
oh my god, yes.
so I'm just changing lanes, I guess. But yeah, I really enjoyed Acquisition Inc. It was a lot of fun. I thought they did a good job. That was a roller coaster show,
Yeah.
roller coaster of emotions. So that was really good.
I didn't cry.
I didn't cry either. I don't know what you're talking about. It was just some daddy-daughter stuff. It's fine.
It was humid
Oh,
in that
yeah.
room.
No shit, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just the humidity
Yeah.
leaking out of your
Stop
eyes.
talking about it, or I'm gonna have to turn my camera off.
Yes, sir. So I liked that. I always think it's cool when you meet some of the like writers and designers of the games. Like Spencer Campbell was really great to meet for Skila RPGs. He does a lot of like cool sort of indie stuff that I like. And then what else did we do? Oh, I went by the Alchemy booth. Did you guys demo the Alchemy RPG stuff at all? So Alchemy is just basically a new virtual tabletop, right? So they've been around for maybe like I'm probably speaking incorrectly, about a year or two, somewhere in that range, couple years.
Just about,
right?
yeah.
And they kickstarted not too long ago, and so it is a gorgeous, beautiful, well-designed, really great virtual tabletop. I highly recommend looking at it. And so I got to meet some of the people that are running all of that, and then we got to demo a game using Alchemy. And I thought it was fantastic. Jesse, you wanna Jesse played with me.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was awesome. So it was Vast Grim, which is based off
Brian's
of
work.
Morkborg.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's Morkborg in space. It was awesome.
Yeah.
And so
Big
yeah, the
ball, that's
system
fun.
was really cool. The GM was awesome. I don't know if we have to play. We beat Vastgrim, so I guess we don't have to play it anymore. we were one of the last demos of the con. It was Sunday. It was we played it. What was like 2:00 on Sunday?
Yeah, like 1:30.
So we were like the second to last, if not last, demo of the con.
Yeah.
And the GM, after we finished it, told us we were the only ones to explore the entire spaceship. We were the only ones to collect all 3 clues, and we were the only ones to make it out with everybody alive.
Oh hell yeah!
and
mostly
we did all the things. Mostly, yeah. I mean, I lost an eye, and one of the other guys lost an arm. But
You have another one of
fine.
both of those. It's fine.
Right. And it's the future. And he lost a robotic arm. All right. Doesn't
Okay,
even
yeah,
count.
we can get that.
Yeah.
And you can just I just get a new eye, so it's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the game was super fun. Playing with alchemy was cool. Like,
so you played on a VTT in
In the
house?
Sitting next to
Yeah.
each other.
Oh,
Yeah, so we all had we were sitting at a table, and we all had laptops that we were playing on.
Oh,
oh
cool.
wow.
So, but we were still no mics or cameras or anything. We were still talking in person.
Yeah.
We were just doing all the rolls and everything
Just
in
to
the
try
VTT.
yeah.
Yeah, just to
Hmm.
try it out. I mean, he gave me. I found a satchel. They randomly generated the items that were in it.
Ooh.
They threw them up in the chat, and I had never touching the system before. I generated those items to then use within 2 or 3 minutes.
Hmm.
Oh, wow.
To the point where I had the description, I had a 1-click roll for the roll and for the ability and damage, and all that was I did that in like 2 minutes, if
Yeah.
that.
It's real intuitive.
So it's a super intuitive system. The game was fun. So
yeah.
it was a nice end to the con for me.
I love Brian's work. He's one of the people that I was trying to run by and see, and I missed him both times I ran through there. But I haven't got to play Vastgrim. I just look at all the pretty art and everything. I love
Oh, it's so
everything he's
beautiful.
done. I have all the creature creation stuff and all their
Well,
pins and everything.
Leslie picked up the book and is looking to run a session. So
I'm a super good player. I am terrible at rolling, but I'm great at other things. I need like an RPG resume. I will roll terribly, so you'll get to do fun, horrible things to me.
Right. Gotta turn that around.
Yeah. So I would definitely, if you get a chance, check out Alchemy. It's cool. The thing that I love about it as a GM is it allows me to organize my online play the way that I think and the way that I try to run games, because I tend to run games as scenes, right? Like every time I do a game prep, I literally organize it on like scene 1, scene 2, scene 3, and obviously there's options like, ooh, scene 2 might go to this scene or that scene, there's some things that, can go on there, but then I can build it in the virtual tabletop that way. And they have all of this beautiful animated artwork that you can put in that becomes your landing page for that session and for that scene. And it just is so much more immersive than just the flat kind of like, grid. And you can do maps. All of that stuff is so fully possible. So if you want to do gridded map play, you can. But also if you're doing more theater of mind, you have the opportunity to have like a beautiful animated graphic to actually set the mood, as it were. So love it.
You know what's super good though? When you don't plan anything.
No, we're talking about PAX.
Out of love. That was love.
Look, you dropped the hook, and I had to take the bait.
I do like lower prep stuff just because I have a couple different jobs, and if I'm ever running anything, which I have not done a great job of doing this year, I have not been prepped. But sometimes like I get an ADHD wormhole, and I was like, I wrote 20 pages for our like hour-long one shot, guys. I hope you're prepared.
I hope you're prepared.
We got shit to do. I needed to be like Jesse and Leslie, where they're getting stuff done.
No, my first campaign I ever ran 3 years ago. It was just supposed to be a one shot, like first campaign, first D&D I'd ever run. 4 out of the 5 players, first time they'd ever played D&D. Just doing a quick, maybe 4 or 5 sessions. I created a world with 5,000 years of backstory.
Yeah.
So
My
don't
friends
feel bad.
like for their one game like several years ago, my friends made a wiki, and like they had like secret links in some of the images that you would click to find out like more information and get really intense.
That's
and
beautiful.
then I'm like, I have like 8 pages stuffed in a notebook from when I ran Overlight for my friends, and like went on a deep dive and made a campaign, and then we never played it again because all of our schedules got wild. It's my rotating group, and I have yet to be a DM in it yet. So I think when it's my turn, I'm like, hey, we're gonna change from 5e to Overlight because I want to run this game. Thank you.
It's time.
Nice.
It's less math.
So Jesse, what are your highlights besides our Vaskram awesomeness?
Well, again, I mean, I hate to sound like a broken record, but it was hanging out with everybody, right? Like, you know, I get to hang out with John in person like once every other year, for a day. Like Leslie, it was the first time me and you hanging out in the meet space. So that was fun. Like some of the more fun things was either like in the morning, like hanging out, eating breakfast, or like when we got home and chilled for an hour before I fall asleep on a chair.
Mid conversation.
So like,
hey, that's the way to do it. Run until you drop, sleep, wake up the next day, and go.
Right.
The bar.
But in terms of games, in terms of the actual PAX, all right. I don't want to. I liked it.
It's too many people, right? It's too busy.
Well, no, it's not that.
Stuff.
So between, like I said, the last time I was ever at like a gaming con, I was at PAX East 2013. All right. I was mostly there for the RPGs, but that is kind of a video game thing, right? Which I think meant that the RPGs, all the tabletop stuff, was not as populated, so I could just go in and do a pickup game, right? Or they'd be like, hey, we have like a D&D game. Like that was when D&D Next was playtesting, right? And they were like, we're going to playtest D&D Next from 2 to 5. Like, so and you just showed up and you played, right? Like, pretty much like everybody got a table.
Yeah.
Right. And so between that and then my daydreaming of going to cons, of like researching Gen Con or like Carnage up in Vermont or Total Con or all these other like local cons around me, where the registration is like they release the schedule a couple months in advance, right? You get to look at it. You pre-register ahead of time. If you don't get into this game, that's fine. You can get into this game and it's all bouncing. You know what your schedule is going into the con. I had, between those two experiences, I had an expectation going into PAX Unplugged that was going to be similar. And it wasn't even close, right?
Yeah.
Like we played, we got into the Simba Room game Friday afternoon, and then we did no gaming on Saturday, and then we did the Vasgrim game on Sunday, and that was it for a gaming convention.
Yeah.
So
No, that's really interesting though, because like I definitely come at it from like I started in the board game, and obviously like I do a lot more RPGs now, but like I'm so used to like Gen Con was like what 86,000 people this year or something like that I'm like, oh, PAX is small, like this is great, I love this. Like I went to Save Against Fear, which is like 500 people, and I'm like, oh, this is so different, I like it, I actually recognize these people. I actually saw a family that we had met, and the kids had hung out with us at the booth at Save Against Fear. I saw them at PAX, which was super awesome. But I also had a very unfortunate first RPG at a con experience that made me not RPG for a while.
Oh, no.
So
really?
yeah, the GM was not nice to me as the only girl at the table, to the point that my friend asked me afterwards, he's like, I fully expected you to get up and leave. And I was like, I was sitting there with you and you were really excited about it, I wasn't gonna leave. Like the other players kind of turned on the GM and started being really nice to me. Like that's how bad this got.
Well, yeah.
And like I didn't RPG for like a year or something after, because I had such an unpleasant experience. Yeah. So like I'm so much more familiar with like the board game side of the convention. But I heard rumblings at PAX, like people were telling me it was so hard to get into stuff. And that's so sad, because I feel like PAX has done more with getting like content creators for RPG spaces and getting them in, like Danny Quatch, who does Roll20 and stuff like that. He works with like Big Gay Dinner and everything, so I got to hang out with him a little bit. But like they're doing himbos, and they brought him in as like a special guest because he's doing that RPG space. And Critical Role, that's the first time I got to see them in person. Is the first PAX I went to. So I think of it as a more RPG-ish thing than I think of Gen Con, but I wonder if that's more just like my perception based on the board game spaces I'm used to than an actual reality.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I felt that things just like there was a few between the free play. I was really looking forward to doing some unpub games, which is like all the stuff in production.
Yeah.
Right? You're basically getting to play test games. But then like you walk out of the expo area into the other side of the hall, and there were no signs. Nothing was labeled. Like there was barely any borders or anything up. And so you look out at this like vast swaths of tables and you're like, okay, well, I don't know what any of this is. Yeah. Like it was for a noob, it was incredibly overwhelming and chaotic because you didn't know what was going on. Like I didn't know where to go to find stuff. I didn't know where, like what stuff was or where I could go. So we
looked, right? I mean, like,
yeah.
I think it's Repost that does the Seven Wonders Architects. They were not playtesting necessarily, but demoing the expansion for Seven Wonders Architects. I was like, I definitely want to do this. I have it. It's a super fun game. You know, they have the expansion. I'm probably going to buy it anyway, but I'd like to be able to play it. Couldn't find them. We walked through up and down all the aisles. We asked enforcers. Couldn't find them anywhere. And they had to be in like a specific area where they were demoing games. Couldn't find them.
Yeah, the signage is not good. And like I know I demo and do all of this stuff, but I do have like social anxiety too. So like if I go to a space and I don't know how to like, do I have to talk to somebody first? Can I just sit down? Like I need there to be a sign that's like, hey, come in and sit down. This is
same
game here.
Yeah, you want
that's how we got stuck in that one bad game because we walked through the whole free play area and there was one guy holding up a sign that said open seats. And we were like, oh, cool, let's sit at this game. And
it was
that
great
choice.
I'm
sure he loved his game.
Win some and lose some.
Like, we have to go. And I'm like, bet. And, you know, guys just like all this, like, you got to do this and draw these 3 cards. And there was like 8 different tracks on like a fucking play mat and all this stuff. We're like, nah, I can't. There's no
This
fucking
game,
way.
yeah, this game is for someone, just not me.
Oh yeah, I play tested this game. It was cute. It was like you had animals, but you wanted them away from your camp. So one, I was like, I want the animals in my camp.
Right? Yeah.
But like with my ADHD and after the escalator thing, like I had no memory. Like I was so overwhelmed, and you had to remember like which card you put where because you weren't allowed to check again. And I was getting frustrated with myself. And my friend is like, Amy, it's a demo. You can stop. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to be mean because I'm sure this game is great, but I need to leave now.
I don't have it. Yeah.
Listen, my kids have been beating me at memory since they were 3. Those are not my style.
Because I ended up like giving away my really good card, and I'm like, man. Like this is not fun. Like I'm beating myself.
Yeah. So I think the summary is definitely that it's kind of a mixed bag. So Amy, I know that you're working a lot of it, but do you have some highlights?
Besides the shoe, right?
Yeah,
I mean, obviously, like
definitely a
top
highlight.
tier.
Right.
So I was actually supposed to demo a different game, and ended up getting thrown into Kinfire Delve. And one, the team was super good about like making sure me and the other girl who had been doing that did it. But it's actually a super fun game. I knew of some people that were with Incredible Dreams, so I knew they were a good company, and that's why I was like, hey, can I demo for you? Because I want to go to PAX. Let's do it. But it's like a 1 to 2 player co-op. It'll be 3 to 4 when the next part comes out. But you're like dungeon delving, and there's like mechanics for like shuffling cards down. So like I had really great demoers, and as a demoer, I really like PAX Unplugged because people are nice overall at Gen Con, but there's way more like really intense like alpha gamers rules at Gen Con, and at PAX people are just like, hey, this looks cool, let's play, and then they're very chill. So I liked that. And Big Gay Dinner, which it's for queer people in the board game community, put on by the Rose Gauntlet Foundation. They work on getting more diverse voices in gaming and stuff like that. So I got to help out Isaac and the team with that, and then I got to eat the really good food and also meet more queer people in the industry, which I enjoy. So
awesome.
We got to make Christmas ornaments. So I made one that said RIP my shoe with an escalator and fuck that escalator on it.
That's great.
That's amazing.
Memento.
Like, if you can't laugh at your trauma, what's the point?
What was the name of the board game you were demoing?
Kinfire Delve.
Kinfire Delve.
I mean, honestly, they need to be charging more money for it too. Like, there's gold foil on the backs of cards. It comes with dice and tokens and the cards with the art, and it's like a good box because I break a lot of my board game boxes.
Yeah.
On them, like dragging them to my board game group and back. I was just like, are you sure you only want to charge $20 for this game? Like, I would pay more money for this game for sure. Yep. So
well, it's like I got a game demo for me, Santa's Workshop. I sat in on a demo. The game was awesome. Apparently it's an updated remake of a game that was made like 15 or so years ago. But I unbeknownst to me when we first started, I didn't realize that the guy demoing it was actually the designer until somebody had bought the game and they walked up and they were like, can you sign this for us? And I'm like, oh, you're this guy. Oh, okay. This is
glad I didn't trash it.
Right? No, it actually, and I mean, I ended up buying it because it was a super fun game, but they're running a limited run PAX Unplugged version of it with like upgraded tokens and a gold foil cover, and it was like, and all this kind of stuff. And I'm expecting, like, I've bought board games, and I'm like, okay, well, this is cool, but I'm not gonna spend like $60 or $70 on a game. Like, I just don't have that in me right now. And they're like, oh, it's $40.
Oh wow, yeah.
And I'm like, okay. Okay, I guess.
Like, please take my money. Also, you should maybe take more of it, but I'm not going to argue too much.
Right, exactly. I'm like, if I don't know if that's just a PAX thing where like I'm walking around and I'm seeing that there's a bunch of, it feels like there's a bunch of people who are like self-publishing their games. Like there was one game that I thought looked really cool that was 3 moms that published their own card game and like stuff like that. And same thing. This game looks super awesome. They're selling it for $15, and I'm like, you could be charging more for this. So I don't know whether it's a PAX thing where just prices are generally lower, or if it's more so like an indie developer thing where people just aren't thinking highly enough of themselves and they're undercharging for these games. John?
What?
John, do you need to charge a more for your work speech? Because I've given that to a lot of my friends.
I don't know.
Your time is valuable, and you only don't value your time because it's hard to value our own work. If you were like your friend making your stuff, you would tell them to charge more money for it.
Well, so yeah, fair, right? Fair.
I will use my therapist powers for evil.
That was strong. That was strong magic. Yeah.
So,
love
I wrote a supplement, we'll say, for the core RPG system, which Chad graciously copy edited for me. And because it's supplement, and it's less than 50 pages or whatever, it's pay what you want. And that's fine for me. Like it's fine. but so I'm working on air quotes on the 3rd version, which will be a bigger book that I will actually charge for.
Yes,
because it's
but still, the full version is going to be pushing, if not over 100 pages.
Oh, you best be charging good money for that.
He was
for that one.
Like, I'll charge maybe $10. Like,
no.
You're not allowed to decide the price of your game. You
right. Outsource that. Get a committee together.
Yeah, I do think that's part of it, though. One, I think it's very hard. Also, like when you've worked really hard on something, like you want it to sell, right? Like you want people to play it. And again, like valuing yourself, but also booths are way cheaper. Not like cheap, but they're way less expensive at like PAX Unplugged than they are at Gen Con. So the price point of what you have to sell is so much more. Like, I don't know the exact thing, but just from like being a demoer and like working with people that are in charge of booths and stuff, like Gen Con booths are very expensive, like very expensive. And PAX U is getting more expensive because, they only do have a certain amount of space because they are committed to like keeping the free play area large. But it's also, again, like people undervaluing games, but also I think people recognize like it's hard right now. Like our grocery bills are insanely high and they want people to play their game, right? So I think having like PDFs that are much easier or more accessible, and I'm not saying that 10, 15, 12, like $20 is totally accessible for everybody, because I do know that is a cost. But that's way more accessible than like a $50 book. But also at the same time, like you put a lot of work into that shit. Like you should be getting paid for it. Because it's your time and your effort, and that thing wouldn't exist without your brain. And that's really awesome. And you should value that.
I think it's more of Jesse's effort than mine, because Jesse did all the art.
I mean, pay your artists for sure.
Yes, right.
But that was good deflection.
Well, I've heard a lot too, just discussions from about the indie circuit anyway, of and again, not because I've put out a couple of like tiny projects for pay what you want and stuff like that, but the people, when the market gets flooded with either pay what you want or low value items, then those are competing with, quote unquote, actual creators or more full-time creators who then have to do that, who have to lower their prices to compete with the people who are selling their stuff for cheap, effectively forcing them to undervalue their products. So if we all value ourselves equally, then the people who actually, want to make a living off this can.
Well, and I think also people very much underestimate, like, when you are writing something and like working with an editor, because like I edit for Kyle Ott at Desk and Dorks, like he also like is in meetings with me, like when we're talking about it, and he's in meetings with the artist. And like also it's not just like the time you spent on this, it's all of the time that like you've done gaming and you've done research and you've thought about what people want and you've like come up with ideas and your skills and your knowledge and everything. You're valuing that alongside like the hours that you work, which you're probably underestimating how much hours you work. And you're not including all the time it took to create that skill and build that skill to where it is. Because if you can crank stuff out, that's awesome, but you can crank stuff out because of the years and years and years of work you've put into becoming the person that can crank things out.
Totally.
Right.
I had somebody ask me how long something took me to write, and my answer was, do you count the preoccupation time? Because then it's like my entire, like anytime I'm not in my day job, I was thinking about, some obscure historical thing, or, just your head is in that space, just ruminating and turning ideas over. And a lot of it's not used. And that's all time.
Yeah. I mean, as I've done the artist thing too. And, it's tough because you only want to charge for the actual work time, right? Like when you have pen to paper or brush to canvas or whatever. But your time, if you were to actually charge for all the time that you spend on a project, the bill would double or even triple because of all the sketches you did, all the research you did, all the times you started and then threw the project away and started again, and it's the same thing with writing and everything like that. Just like you said, like there's a lot of off the pen time that happens that you don't even mentally consider the work time because it's just kind of in the background or it's prep or something like that. So
pay your artists and pay your writers.
Yeah.
And your
there you go.
Pay yourself.
yourself.
Yeah.
Pay yourself, right?
For sure.
We've transitioned.
Anything that you picked up while you were there that you're like, I can't wait to play this or try this, now that I've got it? Any new things?
Well, I picked up Santa's Workshop, and it is currently sitting at the very top of this shelf behind some bags because I'm saving it as a Christmas present for the family. So I can't. I really, really want to play it, guys, but I can't.
Nice. Anybody else?
I didn't go in expecting to buy anything. I don't need more dice. I wasn't looking specifically, like in a Gen Con situation, like, oh, this is going to be coming out and this is going to be coming out. Because I do just a ton of research before I buy a board game. Because if you're going to drop $50 or $60, you want to make sure it's something that it's the kind of game that you want to play.
Man, I would like to have that kind of impulse control.
Rodney Smith is a great resource.
I
like certain
watch his
kinds
video, I want to buy the game.
Yeah, I can't do it. But I did pick up Point City. It's a cute little card game by AEG. I like it much better than Point Salad. I played it at one of our local cons here in Arizona, RinCon. It's a nice little con. It's like 300 people. It's great. It's the same people all weekend. Like it's like a big family reunion kind of thing. So I wound up picking that up. One of the vendors had it for it was like $25 or something, and then I picked up. There was I guess it was a local store, and they had a bunch of older games that they were kind of like clearinghouse sort of thing. And I picked
Shout
up
out to Battleground.
Was that who it was?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I picked up the first expansion for Orleans. I called my buddy Kurt from the floor. I'm like, hey, they have this expansion. It's $25. Should I get it? And he was like, yeah, for that price, get it. It's totally worth it. Get it. Because it's like 5 different expansions essentially in the same box. And that was it. Like that was the whole kit and caboodle. Like,
Sounds like you had some good things. Anybody else? Anything else you're wanting to play that you looked into?
Oh, go ahead.
We just had a Kickstarter, so I've been on Kickstarter a lot in the last month because I
Yeah.
kept checking ours. So I was like, I'm not gonna buy that much. I bought gifts for people, and I
Yeah.
bought Mindspace, which is like a roll and write from All Play, where you're like,
Oh, nice.
you have to. My like therapy side is like, you have to balance your hobbies and friends and like romantic interests and money together. I love this. It's so great. Because I also bought a bunch of RPGs at SaveCon too.
Oh, nice.
It's a problem.
problem.
It's a fun problem.
It is a fun problem, but my RPG shelf is now the shelf and a couple stacks in front of the shelf. So it needs to get organized a little.
Some culling.
Or you need a bigger shelf.
I mean, that is also a very excellent point. I live by an IKEA, which is a problem.
There you go.
What about you, Chad?
So my purchasing game was weak. I think I sort of squeezed myself out, and maybe I did it a little bit on purpose, but I had a game in the morning and I was in line for that 1 hour game more than I played it, you know? And then I had a 4 hour game in the afternoon, and I didn't really do the lunchtime thing in the vendor hall. So it was closed by the time I got out of my second game, and I didn't think through like, oh, I'm leaving at 11 a.m. tomorrow and I'm not going to have a chance. It's okay. I'm not a very good purchaser anyway. I prefer to see something and then wait for it to haunt me so much I can't stop thinking about it, and then I either buy it online or pick it up the next time. It's not great for those indie games though that don't, the self-published stuff that you know. But I bought Richard Rook's Roseville Beach, and what I didn't know is they have a zine. They have a zine for the game, so I bought a couple of zines. I haven't even looked at them. They have different character types, and that'll be fun to look through. But
I think I backed for those. I'll have to check.
Yeah.
This is why I have a second job. Because I enjoy being a therapist, and I am a social worker in my day job, but also because I have no impulse control. So clearly I need y'all to be at con and just be like, no, Amy, put it back. You can do it.
I might be the wrong person to ask.
Oh yeah, Amy, you can totally run that for us. It's fine.
All evidence to the contrary.
I mean, that's a good friend to have though when you really want to buy something for some retail therapy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I'm good for that.
what did you wind
Leslie,
up with,
do you
Leslie?
have a list of all the things that you bought?
Oh yeah. So
I'm here for it. Show me your haul.
Here we go.
I'm like, no, I want to see
Yeah.
a stack of shit that you got.
Pull out the
Give
rolly
me
bag.
those pictures.
Oh, God.
What made it hard for you to get your suitcase closed?
Oh God, so many things.
There were so many times when we were in the expo hall and Leslie would just come back over with like, look what I just got.
Okay,
Who
Leslie,
doesn't go?
we need to go to a con together.
Like, I don't even know if I have like the pile of stuff that I got over here. Okay, so some of the highlights. I did get the Dune RPG. I like the 2D20 Modiphius stuff, right? Like I played Conan, I really enjoyed it. I played their Star Trek game, really enjoyed it, and I'm a huge Dune fan. And I was there looking at some of the like limited edition covers. I did not buy the $500 limited edition cover.
It was so beautiful, though.
It was very pretty. I worked for Modiphius at Gen Con, so
yeah.
Oh, nice.
Gorgeous. But I did not know. I just got one of those sort of like regular limited edition covers. I was like, that's good. So I got that. And I'm excited. And Jesse and John are already like, you're running that for us now, right?
if you didn't get the supplement that's like sand dust, something like that.
Yeah.
I have an extra one. Message me. I'll send it to you because when I worked for Modiphius, I accidentally got the fancy version of it and the regular version of it instead of the other one. But I'll just send it to you because again, I need less things on my RPG shelf.
Sweet. That sounds great. Yeah. I only got that book, just kind of like the main starter book. And then I think I said something about Gila RPGs. Spencer Campbell does a lot of like indie games, and I like a lot of his work. There's a game called Hunt. And I pulled it up here. It's like, in Hunt, you and your friends will tell the story of a doomed order of knights. In a final desperate act, the knights gather together for one final quest into the wild forest surrounding their once great keep. It sounds lovely, and I cannot wait.
Coming to Legends soon.
Like, yeah, right? Like, doomed knights? Yes, sign me up. So, and I picked up like, I don't know, like I feel like 4 or 5 of his, because he's got a whole bunch of them, like Slayers and Runes. Some of them are like solo games too that you can play. And I like, he was very kind and like signed everything, which was really cool.
Does he do the Button Shy games too?
Do what?
Does he do the Button Shy games too?
I don't know.
I feel like I have solo games from him, but again, I need to go through my shelves clearly. That name sounds very familiar.
Yeah, he's got a lot of stuff. So just go to Gila, GILA RPGs.itch.io, and you will see the many games. He does great stuff. So I got a bunch of those, and then I got Bluebeard's Bride. I've been wanting to get that forever.
It's so pretty, and it was out at Save, and I'm so mad that it was at PAX and I didn't realize.
I found it beautiful, and like John and Jesse kind of talked me into it because I'd been saying, this has been on my list, and they were like, we're men and we can't run it, and we really want to play it. Please buy it and run it for us.
Yeah.
And I was like,
the game has been on my radar for a while.
Yeah.
And I feel not right playing it as 4 men.
Yeah.
Right. And I also don't feel right as a man GMing it, like running it. So the only way that I personally will feel comfortable with it is if I had a woman running it. Because I just like headspace wise, right? Like there needs to be that aspect. And I thought I was like, Leslie,
you
want to run it?
And I think that's, like as we engage with things that are kind of like outside our experience and kind of like trying to figure out like what's the right thing for me to bring to this and how do I approach this respectfully and all those kinds of things, like I totally get that. So I picked it up. I can't wait to like delve into it. I've watched a couple of people run it and play it, and it just looks amazing. Have you guys ever played it?
Yeah, I played it a couple times.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
It's devastating. Devastating both times. It's certainly not. Yeah. You got to be ready.
Yeah.
You got to have the like comfy blanket and hot cocoa
before, during, and after safety. And absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, you definitely have your after session. Like, let's talk about what just happened.
That, and also be ready to, get something comfy, eat popcorn and watch a goofy movie or something. That it needs a little bit of coming back to
the world.
Well, you guys did it at Necro the one year, right?
Yes, that was. So I played it once with all men. So you mentioned not feeling comfortable, and that's that's immutable. You gotta feel comfortable with the group. And then once that was mixed, and it was so, I'm really glad that I had both experiences because they're so different.
Yeah.
So illuminating in different ways. So,
yeah, that's awesome.
Yep.
I think the only game that I've played like that I can think of is Alice is Missing, which is up there up top.
Yeah. Oh.
They were running that at PAX, and I don't know how. It's a digital game.
Yeah.
Like you can't run it. I don't see how you can run that in person, let alone, and they were running an hour version of it. I think
Wow.
it was either 1 or 2 hours, and I'm like, no, this is like at least from the impression that I've gotten of it, it's like a long term, like a multi-day kind of
No.
thing, right?
I played it in one evening in one session.
Oh, really? All right.
Yeah. So I had a group do it, and it was one evening, one session. You could do it if you were sitting around, because basically there's no speaking, and it's all done on like an iPhone or an iPad,
Right.
or
Yeah.
some sort of something where you can like communicate with each other that way.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think you could play as a group together. You would just not be talking. You'd be,
Very true.
communicating digitally, kind of like in the same space, which might be good, because then you could get a hug at the end, because you kind of need one.
True. Yeah. Isn't that what all the boomers yell at us for, though? Is everybody just sitting around on their phones?
Yeah.
Cut to picture of everybody reading their newspapers on the fucking train or standing in
Right.
the...
Like, listen, people will find ways to not engage with other people
Right.
as much as possible.
Yeah.
I've taken the subway in Boston. That's all of it's a skill.
Yeah. No eye contact. Eye contact bad.
Yep.
Or you just make really intense eye contact to freak someone out if they look at you.
Clear the car.
I'm not gonna. Yeah, John. I told John a story when we were at PAX. I'm not good at not making eye contact for the detriment of everybody.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm too friendly.
No,
Yeah.
being a therapist, I think, has ruined my RBF, because people used to like not sit next to me on trains because I had such a good like, don't fuck with me.
Oh, yeah.
And I think now like people ask me for directions and stuff like that.
Aw.
Which like I am happy to help, not with directions, because I'm terrible. I will get out Google and tell them where to go. I couldn't direct my way out of a paper bag with a hole in both ends.
Let's
but,
find
like,
this out together.
No, that's what I do, because I am a cinnamon roll when people need me, but I also would like to go like hermit and like please
Yeah.
don't
Right,
talk to
yep.
me for a little bit.
Yeah. Oh. Well, yeah. So I think there was more than that. Oh, I did get a jigsaw puzzle, which has been amazing.
You got
Which
Vast Grim too.
Oh,
Didn't you pick that up?
Yep.
Yes, I got Vast Grim. I got like the kind of like starter, like beginner little book there.
There was the beautiful unreadable dice.
You know, I ended up giving those to one of my friends.
Oh, really?
The dice killed me, and they were so mean to me. I said, I know what to do with you. Someone else will have better energy with rolling with you.
Listen, if it helps you feel better for your impulse buying, I got the really expensive like Dispel random dice set bag, which is now my knitting
That's
bag.
awesome.
Because I was sad about the escalator and I wanted the pretty bag with the pretty dice, and I got 3 dice sets.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's
And I
awesome.
am giving 1 to 2 of them away for gifts, but I'm keeping one of them. And it's really cool.
Yeah.
And this is the best like crochet bag ever.
That is really
Nice.
cool. I like that.
It's so soft.
I was gonna say
They're-
it looks really nice.
They're like, I'm like, do you make pillows or something? And they're like, people keep asking that because it's really cute. It's got like a skull
Aw.
and like it's got all
Right?
the stuff
That is so
inside
cool.
the cube.
Great designs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Is that velour on the inside?
it's not, because I'm not good with velour. It's just like a really soft, almost like squishable. If you have stuffed animals, this
Yeah,
I don't know what to like
Yeah,
the
fur.
squishable like softness kind of thing. Because I get like
Yep.
like the Clank bag. If you've played that game, like I cannot touch it. I'm like somebody else do
Oh,
the
yeah.
dragon kind of thing, and this is like, oh yes,
That's
Nice.
awesome.
There is. So I work in a toy store, and we sell along with all like little baby stuff. And there's one company that makes just their stuffed animals and everything is just so cuddly and soft and everything. They're amazing. And people all the time ask them, like, you should make blankets out of this. They tried once, but the fabric that they use is so expensive
No.
that if they were to charge just cost for a like throw blanket, it would be like $200.
Oh,
And they were like,
crack.
we can't sell this. But the material is just so amazing.
Yeah.
Get that sensory comfort. Do the horrific
Yeah.
horror game that kills your soul, and then cuddle
Right.
with your little...
And then cuddle up, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
at least a little animal to
Yeah.
hold.
Right.
Well, I clearly have a type. Like tragic games are like my.
Do you want to pack that?
No.
That's why she fits in so well on the podcast.
Games are catharsis, and getting those big, scary emotions out in a way that's separated from yourself is also really awesome. Like, eventually, if I ever have like an in-person practice, I want to do the therapeutic RPG stuff. I just like in-person office space is very expensive where I live, and I do not make that much as a doing just part-time therapy. But no, because like, who doesn't want to like deal with some emotions they don't want to process by like hitting things with a big heavy sword or like crying in character about somebody you've lost? Like,
it's a delight. Well, I tell you, it's funny because you were talking about your dream about the escalator, and I had a terrible nightmare that I was in a hotel that had a literal tsunami coming towards it last night, and I woke up this morning. Like, the last thing I remember was like I'm in the hotel, and the hotel's literally drifting through the water, and like I see people in vehicles, like like we're all floating away, and I remember thinking in my head, this seems bad. And then I woke up and I was like, I think I'm just gonna go have some tea and move on from that.
That sounds like it would be a Monty Python skit. Like,
it should have been funny because it would have been, like obvious. I mean, I design buildings for a living, so like I know what would happen to a building in that scenario, and you would not just be like sitting there like in your building as it floats away. That's not how that works. But in my dream, it did.
But
this
you know it
needs
was
to be an
bad.
anime now.
I know, right? Yeah, it was like a cartoon, but it was scarier.
yeah, because it's scary in the dream, and you wake up and you still are like freaked out, and then you're like, oh, that was like a weird, but not that scary thing. Like, escalators can't chase me. Buildings can't float.
Yeah, I can't. I'm trying to picture the escalator chasing, and what does it do? Is it on a wheel?
I can't tell you because I just know it was chasing me.
Yeah.
And it's like, from what I remember, there were different forms of it, but one of them seems to be very much like a cartoon escalator just like bouncing after me. Like, when they have the mimic with the dice chest where it's like the round up, and it was like that, but an escalator. And like, that's fucking hilarious. I'm sorry. Like, but in the dream, it was terrifying.
Exactly.
See, I was picturing more of like a caterpillar. So like it's the loot, and then it's all just like
kind of like
terrifying. Yeah.
No, I mean, I had escalator nightmares for like a solid week. Like, I finally am sleeping
I don't blame
better
you.
again after that. But I also, like, my cat got sick like right after I came back. Like, I've had bad luck for a little bit. Whatever Eldritch abomination was trying to get me in the escalator is clearly still following me. I'm like, you took my shoe. Isn't that enough?
That was my
you skipped
sacrifice.
the con crud, but you ended up getting the con curse.
Yeah.
Is what happened.
Yeah.
Well, like, God bless my brother, or whatever God is out there. I don't know why I ever said that. Like, holiday brain is apparently God blesses everyone. He knew that I hadn't been sleeping well because I'd been talking to him, and he bought me an earlier plane ticket because my other ticket I was gonna have like a layover, and I was gonna get in super late, and I had to work the next day. So he found like an early direct flight to where I live in Columbus. It was supposed to leave at 8:30, get in at 10:36. I got delayed like 8 to 9 hours. I had to be in the airport the whole time. They gave us a $12 voucher and it didn't even pay for like a bowl of pineapple and a drink, right?
Yeah, right.
So like, it ended up still being a nightmare. And I was just like, okay, Philly, peace. I don't know if I'm coming to see you again next year. we gotta let the feelings process for a while before I make that decision.
Oh,
that sucks. I was so excited to be back because I'm originally from the East Coast, so I did all the things. We went to Pat's cheesesteaks. I got tasty cakes. We got Yinglings. I got some Valenzano wine. We went to Wawa 12:30 in the morning. We had pork roll. And these two were like, "What's pork roll?" I'm like, "Oh, you gotta get pork roll."
Pork roll is delicious. No,
It's
I just like
is.
being in a city that like has a functional public transportation system. Because
You're
like
counting
Ohio,
I don't know what that's like.
listen, I live in Ohio. Okay,
Okay,
the bar is very low. We can't even get Amtrak to come through Columbus.
Oh,
Because
really?
the tracks aren't straight.
To be fair, a bunch of trains keep derailing in Ohio. They're cargo trains,
Yeah.
but like I get it. No, they keep every time there's a new light rail thing, it connects. They want one connecting like Philly, Pittsburgh, Columbus, Fort Wayne, Chicago, and I was like, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Please do that. And
Right?
then they're like, oh
Gets
no,
rerouted.
we can't have, we don't have the money for that. And I'm like,
Oh,
We just can't have nice things because we're too busy doing
Don't
stupid
have the
things.
money.
Yeah.
yeah, right.
it's just like, come on, I want to just hop on a train. Because like driving
Right.
8 hours is a lot at the beginning of a con. It is too much at the end of the con for me.
Yeah. Oh yeah, my drive going in, like luckily we all got together Thursday. So my drive there was 6 hours. Not too horrible. But then my drive back Sunday was in the rain
Oh, yeah.
with construction. I think all told I was on the road for like 9.5 hours.
Oh man.
It was, yeah.
And it's brutal
Not
too,
a-
because like you're getting home at the end of it, so you're just like,
Right.
"Please, just
Yeah.
let me go."
I just want to be home now.
Yeah.
If we
Luckily-
had any basic infrastructure of mass
Transportation.
commutation, what's the word I'm looking for?
Transportation.
Transit.
Yeah, transportation. That
Yeah.
would be nice.
It would be
That
nice.
didn't cost an arm and a leg.
Because trains are so cheap.
Yeah.
Trains are
Mhm.
so cheap. And I'm
Right?
like, everybody's like, oh, we need automatic cars. No, we need trains. We need
Mhm.
trains.
Yep.
There's so many people that agree with you, and it is very interesting to kind of like deal in spaces like that and see the sort of, I'm not going to say warring sides, it's a little dramatic, but the different realms that have sort of stakes, the different stakeholders and
Oh,
all
yeah.
of that, and who has what resources where and where it gets pooled to and where it gets not pooled. But the lack of public mass transportation in this country is such a disaster.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just-
It's a huge bummer.
Just makes
Yeah.
everything easier. I lived in Central Europe for a couple years teaching English, and I could like get on a bus or get on a train or get on a trolley if I went to a bigger city than I was in, like so easily. And man, they weren't on
Yeah.
time where I was, but like I could still get there and it was cheap. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't
Yeah.
Mhm.
very much. And it was so much easier to like see people and do things because I didn't have to worry about like being awake enough to drive home at the end of the whatever I was doing because I could
Right.
get on the train and just get off at my stop, right?
Yeah.
If I want from where I am, I live in Massachusetts. I'm right next to Plymouth. If I want to take our train into Boston and then back home, round trip is over $30, which shouldn't be that much. I mean,
No.
it's more
not
than if I
far
was
at
to
all.
just drive in and pay for parking.
Yeah.
And you also have to pay for parking on top of that.
Mhm.
So that's
You
just
don't have a
that's
free
just the
parking?
train
Oh
ticket.
my god.
Nope, no, we don't even have free park.
Ew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then over the summer we go down to South Carolina to visit my grandmother, and it's a 2-day drive with kids. It's tough. But flying is expensive. And then but last year we were like, oh, let's look at taking a train down, right? The train tickets are more expensive than the plane tickets.
Oh,
Why is this a thing? I'm still on the ground. It shouldn't be this expensive.
It shouldn't, because my friend who came into PAX, it was like a 2-hour train ride. It was a $20 ticket both ways. Like,
Wow.
because that's how cheap it should be when you're carrying a bunch of people at one time. Sorry. As a social worker, I have so many problems with like our infrastructure and like making it so difficult for people to get to work or get to like other things that they need to go to. I'm like,
Oh yeah.
It's a huge barrier.
just give me the money and I will distribute it.
Yeah.
And it will go very
My
differently.
town is only 1,200. It's a little over 1,200 people,
Yeah.
and I can't walk anywhere. If I wanted to walk to the nearest grocery store, it's almost an hour walk. It's a 10-minute drive from where I am just to get to a grocery store.
I can only walk to the grocery store because I live by a senior center, and their goal for building it was to make sure that like the seniors could access more things. It was supposed to be more than just grocery stores, but some of it got like slashed when COVID happened or whatever. But
Of course, yeah.
I was just like, this is nice. How many times do I walk there? Not super often, but I'm weak, okay, and food is heavy.
Yeah.
They've been talking about putting a light rail between Tucson and Phoenix, and with the massive amount of traffic in Phoenix, like it's a no-brainer. You'd say, pollution, time, money, road, like all the construction all the time, and every time it comes up for a vote, they shoot it down. And it's like I'm a hockey fan, right? So we go up when the Flyers come. We go up. It's 2.5 hours up with traffic plus the parking, and you got to take food, and it's like a whole night thing. You come back at 1 o'clock in the morning. But I would go to games because the area where the stadium used to be, because the Coyotes got booted out of the stadium. That's a whole other thing. But anyway, it's a really nice area, and like you could just get on a train and be there in 40 minutes or whatever. Like I would go up just to see hockey games, but they're like, no, fuck you. Like drive 3 hours.
Plus, you can have adult beverages and get on the train
Yeah.
because you're not driving.
Right.
Yeah,
I will
it's
contribute
stupid.
more to the economy.
And there's a beer garden, and there's all kinds of restaurants and all kinds of stuff. And it's like, that's cool if you live 20 minutes from the stadium, but it's not if you're 2 hours away.
Yeah.
You've got all of these companies that are like, we want you to come back to the office. We don't want you to work from home anymore. I'm like, how about if you make it easier for people to get to the office?
But they have
Right.
to pay for the space.
Yeah.
They own the buildings already.
Yeah.
I pay
Yeah.
$1,300 parking a year to park by where I walk because I work
Wow.
at an OSU hospital. And
Yeah.
now I could park at like the thing and take a shuttle in, but I would have to park, wait for the shuttle, get on the shuttle, get to the place, get off the shuttle. And I don't got time for that. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
And it's the
That's
time
an
that's
extra
the
hour
killer.
to your day.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Because like I could take the bus, like I live by a park and ride, and it's only 45 minutes in, which I would be willing to do, but it's an hour and a half back. And especially because I do private clients in the evenings a couple days after I work, like I can't afford to spend an hour and a half on a bus and then still drive another like 10 minutes home.
Yeah.
right.
Like it'd be so nice if it was like much faster. Like it is a park and ride for like all of my suburb. Can't you just go straight to the hub? But no, we got to stop 72 times in between. Like, the bus is already full anyway. Don't let people on.
The competing interests.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, do we have any other PAX thoughts before we?
I had a question, especially for the noobs, but for everyone. I guess it's 2 parts. So 1, would you go again? 2, what would you do differently, strategy-wise?
So it depends, right?
Okay.
So if the 3 of us, or and plus John, and if we got a bunch of people to come down and rent it, because we could have fit more people in the house. Just to hang out with everybody in a
That's
heartbeat,
enough.
right? Like it's a no-brainer, because that's the only reason why I went. So in that sense, yes, but doesn't really have anything to do with PAX, right? as far as PAX goes, I guess depends on what their structure is, because what they had, as someone who hadn't experienced it before, wasn't very user friendly. The registration wasn't great. I've been to smaller cons that, or like even Gen Con, you register weeks out so you know what you have when you go in. So there isn't all of that fucking around in the morning, like, oh, I didn't get this thing I wanted at 10, so now I guess I'll just walk around all day. Or we can leave for the convention that we paid for to go someplace else to play games, right? Like, that's kind of stupid. But to me, that's the irrelevant part, right? Like, we'd just be hanging out. So yes.
Yeah. Yes, despite PAX.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat. Like, would I make this, like, if I had to choose a con to go to every year, would I make PAX Unplugged that con? Based off this experience, no. If they got it's weird to say because it's been going on for a few years. But if they got their shit together, then it would be more enjoyable for me, I think. Like you said, between the registration and the lack of visible, even though they might be completely organized behind the scenes, visible organization for the attendance would be really nice. So like if it was more organized, if it was more user friendly, then I think it would make it more enjoyable. But if based solely off this experience, I like hanging out with my friends. So
what about you, Amy?
I mean, I'm gonna go back because so like this is not the healthiest thing, but most of my vacations are cons because I can go. I tend to get paid. I get paid to demo, so I'm making some of it, and I have PTO, so I'm getting paid, and it's an opportunity to see my friends. I like PAX because it tends to be more relaxed enough that I can actually see more of my like people that I know in the board game world, RPG world. I might take the stairs every day.
Understandable.
Yeah, but I'll likely be back. Also because I don't know if I'm going to Gen Con anymore next year, so I want to hit at least like PAX. And then I live in Columbus, so Origins is easy for me, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Chaosium Con too, right? Isn't that around in that area?
Yes, so this will be my first year going to Chaosium Con. I got a ticket. I have to see. I was potentially going to see if I could stay with a friend, so I didn't get the hotel, and now I'm like kind of regretting not at least booking the hotel because everybody was like, "Book the hotel, Amy," and I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'm going to do that," and then I forgot.
Is it full then?
I haven't checked it again. I have a lot of other life admin stuff I'm working on.
Yeah.
You're like, it's low on the list. It just hasn't popped.
It's Ann Arbor. I will figure it out.
You'll figure it out. Yeah. It's a little.
I'll sleep on the
Ypsilanti
couch.
even. Yeah.
Would I go again? Yes. I tend to go every year. It is, I've been to Gen Con. I've been to Dragon Con. I've done like large LARPing cons. I've done a decent variety of them. I like the size. I like the fact that it's not too big, but it's big enough that there's lots of interesting things going on. I had lots of random things happen. Like at one point I met Holly Conrad just randomly as I was walking through. So that was cool. Just know, yeah. And then like I guess to me, I always go with the idea of I'm going to hang out with my friends. so that being my like first goal, I'm probably less bothered by some of the other things. The games I got to play felt like gravy, I guess, if that makes sense. to do different. I think I would have brought one of my board games on Saturday when we didn't have any like scheduled stuff going on, and just like found ourselves a corner and spent a few hours like just playing like one of the fun board games that I bought that I was like, hey, let's do this. That was, I think, something that I wish I had done on Saturday, since we didn't end up getting into any of the games we had originally wanted to sign up for. Other than that, I think we kind of did most of the stuff that were sort of in the highlights of what what was planned. So
yeah,
I think other than that, I might try to get a hotel room next time. We got a house, and we sort of thought we were going to have like more of our friends show up. And then it just ended up being like the three of us, and it was a little bit large for just three people.
We each had our own floor.
Yeah, no shit, right?
Wow.
Kind of. So I think just I might get a hotel room, just because you kind of you just never know what people's schedules and things are going to be like. So it might just be easier. But I don't know.
The hotel I stayed at, I was crashing with friends, but it was called Sonder, and they had a king bed, and then there was a pull-out couch, and it had like a kitchenette and laundry and stuff. And it was only like $75 a night.
Wow.
No,
And it
that's
was
good.
a 10-minute walk to the convention.
That's
Amazing.
great.
Wow.
So.
Leslie, right there.
Yeah, that was the other, like the house that we stayed in was beautiful. But it was, I mean, even power walking, like it was like, it would have been like 35 minutes away.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to like walk there when we were going to be walking around for 14 hours. And then you don't want to walk back after. Yeah. And you don't want to risk like, okay, well, I guess we could try to Uber. So we just ended up driving in and out. So yeah, staying closer might be more advantageous.
Well, the hotel's nice too. Like, so if you stay like right near the convention center, I guess like if you wanted to, dip out for an hour and take a nap, right? Like it's easier to do that.
Old man,
like giving up a spot and all that stuff. Well, not for me. You fell asleep on the chair.
Oh,
but like I know,
at
like
12:30 at night.
I was ready to play games. You guys go to bed. But like I know Bridget at Necronomicon was like, "Hey, like I'm gonna fucking dip if you don't see me. Like I need like my own space to like decompress and like take a nap and whatever." So if you have that ability, it gives you a little bit more flexibility than like what we had. Just like, all right, we got to walk 20 minutes back to the car and then drive back 20 minutes and then try to find a parking spot again. So like once you're there, you're just there, right? You're there all day.
Yeah.
Also, getting food when you have the hotel room is much easier than getting it at the convention, especially because they close the food court, which is wild to me because I've always eaten at the food court.
You have.
And I was like, what is this nonsense?
Was it closed the whole time?
Yeah, it was closed.
It was
they said
food court?
There's a food court, which I mean, it's like a convention food court, but it's
not awesome.
Still,
the lines are way shorter than Reading Market. And then there was stuff at the back of the convention, but I'd walk out to try and get food, and they'd be like, go to the back of the convention hall, and I'd be like, peace. No.
Yeah. That is definitely something.
We stayed at the Notary, which is a block away, and that's awesome. You pay more, but there's a restaurant downstairs and a coffee shop downstairs, and and I had like a little shoulder issue this year, so I wanted to carry as little as possible, like maybe a book if I could get away with that. And that was perfect because I could just run. So
that's
nice.
If you like sushi, Aki Nom Nom,
we ate there. Yeah,
$35 with tax for their all-you-could-eat sushi. I ate so much sushi. You get appetizers and like sashimi. It's like $40 or something with tax. But like they had like calamari and like shumai, and we all had everybody at the table was doing it, so they were letting us like eat each other's rolls and everything. It was so good. Oh my god, I
That's awesome.
still dream about it.
Yeah.
Like the good part of the dreams.
You're eating sushi, and then the escalator comes.
Yeah.
and chases
Then
you.
the escalator comes. God damn it! I was almost done with that sushi.
That is a horror.
Yeah, we went to the Reading Terminal Market every day for lunch. Well, two of the days for lunch, and it was packed and it was hot.
Mm.
But,
Yeah.
you know, once you got food, I mean, it was good.
Yeah, the food was good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in kind of in Massachusetts, in New England itself, you know, there's Carnage on the Mountain that's up in Vermont, that's 3 hours away from me. There's Total Con that's an hour away. There's a new con that just started last year, Rising Phoenix, that's 45 minutes. There's another con down in Connecticut that's 2 hours away. Like, so of all, and those are, granted, they're smaller, they're like 2,000-3,000 people, so a lot smaller than PAX. But you know, if it comes to like choosing one of those experiences over doing PAX, I think I might try one of those next and see what that's like before coming back to this.
Yeah.
Because
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Especially if they don't announce changes to their RPG signups.
Yeah, I wonder if
Right.
they will. I wonder if they're going to get enough comments. I hope so.
I mean,
Yeah.
even people I demoed were talking about how frustrating it was. So
That's all people were, at least from the conversations that we had, that's all people were talking about was how horrible the registration system was.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even the stand in line thing is not functional. I mean, even without the digital failures, that sign up in the morning, we showed up.
Not accessible.
Right.
Yeah.
Like if you, because there's not places to sit down, so you have to sit on the ground or stand up, and a lot of times they don't want you to sit because you take up more space. And I'm like, I have orthostatic issues, so sometimes like I'll need to be standing for a long time without being able to sit down.
Yeah, I wish the games on demand thing had seating. You have to be there for a long time in those lines, just waiting and hoping. And I like the vibe. I like the community. I like the people who run that. But sitting on the floor I'm a little too old. I'm a little creaky. I mean, you know, I'll be okay, but it's not comfortable.
Yeah. So. Yeah. At one point, I was like trying to get up off the floor, and I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
Whatever that muscle is below the butt.
Yeah. When we went up for AC Inc., you know, we went up the steps, and then they, you know, eventually let us all in, and you know, we all started to sit down because it's just like, you know, all taped off lanes to get into this auditorium. And the people that we were talking to, they were like, yeah, you know, previous years, they wouldn't let us sit. We just had to stand up here for like an hour and a half. And I'm like, nope, what the fuck? Like, that's not, like, that's stupid.
Yeah.
You know, because
community protest. If we all sit, they can't make us stand.
Yeah, right. Like I get, you know, it takes up less space or whatever, but also like, you just make people stand for hours. Like that's like, it's already a long day. That starts at like 8 o'clock. You know,
that's not acceptable.
Yeah. Hey, that's another one of your purchases, Leslie. Maury.
What?
That kept us going throughout the line. The card game you bought.
Yeah, I bought a little card game. Like, I guess based off of the phrase like momentum, Maury. Right?
Okay.
I
thought you said Maury, like you are not the father.
Maury Povich.
I was like, I'm into it too. Let's go.
Sign me up.
Yeah, it had really lovely artwork on it, and it was kind of like what did we decide? It was sort of spades-like, right?
had
Hearts.
Hearts,
yeah.
Yeah.
Mori card game.
It was like
Beautiful
Hearts,
art,
but
lots of
with
skulls.
a nice points twist.
Yeah. It's a
So like the higher the card,
game where you're like trying to sort of manipulate what other people are taking from your hand.
the higher the card. So like if you played a 9, it had negative points, but if you played a 1, it had more points. Like it had leaves or something on the sides of the cards. So you want to take the trick, but you also don't want to take it with a high card because it's giving you negative points.
Ooh.
And then when you win the trick or something, you get to take a die from there's a handful of dice you roll, and then you could take a die and you could spend that instead of a card to manipulate what's going on in the pile. It was a neat little game, and the art was fantastic.
Art gets me.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yep.
when
Big
it's
time.
And the
pretty.
art, the dice were really nice too. They were
Yeah.
really shiny. It wasn't that the art on the dice was spectacular, but just like the presentation and like just the dice themselves were
They had a
really
good
nice.
weight to them.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I bought a very expensive dice
There you go.
wrap bag. Like the
Yeah.
dice from the Dice Advent my brother got me for Christmas are in my booby dice bag. So you said dice, and I'm like, sold. Take my money.
Yeah. That whole area that had that game, what was the publisher for that? No,
I don't remember.
I
Their
don't know.
booth was
It looked
crazy.
like a beautiful library though. It was that big
Mhm.
wooden display with all
Oh.
the little games
All play.
pocketed in.
Yeah.
All play.
Mm.
They had
Okay.
like it
Oh,
was
yeah.
the tables with the big sign, and
Yes.
then they have the really nice.
Yes.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
friend works
Oh,
for
it was
them.
just-
That's
Oh,
what
nice.
Mindspace, the game that I bought, was from them.
Oh, nice.
They have really great components, and they just have like
Yeah.
very like solid small games like Mountain Goats. If you ever get it, it's such a silly like concept. You're just like rolling and you're moving your goats up mountains to try and like be the king of the mountain goat, but it's so fun. Like it is ridiculously amazing. I've played it 9,000 times since I bought it last year.
That's awesome.
That's from them too.
Yeah.
Rating.
Yeah, they had a huge selection. They had a ton of games.
Yeah.
And I've loved every game. I have not played all of their games because they're busting them out now, but
Yeah.
they're good.
Yeah.
Plus,
and
like the organization of their booth now that they have like the games, and then they front
Yeah.
themselves automatically. It's just so
Mhm.
pretty.
Yep.
It makes my
Yeah.
heart happy.
I do remember this box now. Yeah.
Yeah, right? The Mori game. But All Place has so many things. There's just lots of stuff. So I'll have to try more next time.
Right. Great. Like I didn't already have a list of games that I wanted to buy coming out of PAX Unplugged. Now I have even more.
Now I have
Listen.
websites.
Mindspace is really fun, and you get little whiteboard markers to like draw on your little brains. It's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, you can get brain themed dice. I did restrain myself and did not get the additional dice. And I think I should get a medal for that. Because you just get like the regular pip dice that are in the color, but they had like more brainish dice you could buy as an upgrade. And I was like, "You are flying
Ooh.
home, Amy. Please stop."
Run. Run.
Especially because I had the extra shoes that I got. They gave me both pairs.
Nice.
They
There you go.
The lady was like, I was like, "Oh, these are good." She's like, "Try the other ones on." I was like, "Oh, but these are fine." She's like,
Good for them.
"I'm not good at accepting help all the time." Oops.
That was, I think, John's saving grace was that he was flying home and he didn't want to mail stuff back to himself.
If I would have bounced it, well, so there was one game they had. What the hell was it? It was a Queen game. Lancelot, maybe? No, that's not right. It was something that was out of print, and I tried to win it in a board game auction, and I went up not getting it. And they had a copy, but it was it's a big box because it's literally Queen
games.
big box. And I'm like, I don't like. Maybe,
It's your personal item.
You're right.
Yeah, right.
Just sit it on your lap.
Well, so I only flew with a backpack and a carry-on. So it was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Jesse, I might need you to send some shit home to me. But everything I bought fit in the bag. So I was like, all right, this is cool.
I played
Including Jesse took me to, we stopped at Target, which
Mm.
didn't have what I was looking for. And we wound up going to Walmart on the way back to the airport. So I got a new Eagle shirt. I got a new Flyer shirt. I got a new Philly shirt.
I mean, you could just put more clothes on your body, though.
It's
Like, they
true.
can't
It's
stop
true.
you.
I mean, the X-ray goes through all that stuff.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right?
None
I
of it's
got
a jacket,
stopped.
so yeah.
On the way there, because I had a copy of Flatter Me by Pink Tiger Games. Amy is one of the loveliest people in the world, and not just because we have the same name. But Flatter Me, it's like compliments and stuff like that, and there is like a point structure. But I love just randomly giving the cards to people. Like, I don't randomly, I like pick out the one that like this one fits you or whatever. But they stopped me because apparently the density of the cards in the box looks like suspicious material.
Ah,
I'm like, what do I
Wow.
have that you're stopping me? I mean, I have knitting needles, so I thought they were gonna like take my
Yeah.
knitting needles, which are like metal and sharp and like this long. I was like, man, they're approved, but whatever. No, it's the box. It apparently looks like C4 or something.
oh,
Wow.
Okay.
oh,
Thanks.
Is something that you could potentially stab with? Yeah, sure. Take that. Cards? Fuck no.
And then they didn't stop me on the way back.
Yeah.
I'm like, I've changed nothing about this besides I took like 5 cards out to give to people. Out
That
of
was
like
just
300.
enough.
Only those 5 cards made the difference.
Yeah, those were the sketchy ones, you know.
That
I
was
remember
every time
flying
we-
to Gen Con and like there were so many people, so many gamers coming in at the same time, and we had all these dice and all kinds of stuff, and like poor security, we were just like, what is with you people? And all your crap. It's like
Well, and then people have snack bags, and sometimes those foil bags set them off. I've had apples get me
Yeah.
stopped, and they're like, apparently apples are a density of explosive material too. And I'm like,
Wow.
are you just guessing at this point? Like,
yeah.
Yes. Yes, they are. As a person who had both family and a friend work for TSA, yes.
yeah, all voodoo.
Man, All Play has some beautiful games.
oh
Right?
yeah,
I love
they're all
Slash Hate
solid
You for
components.
introducing me to this website.
They're all solid components, and like especially the little boxes are like perfect. Because
Yeah.
my board game group, when I go, because I don't always get a chance, because I usually work my second job on Sundays, but we do try and do like a party game to like draw more people in because it's a queer meetup group. And then like be like, you made a friend, now go play a different game with them or whatever.
Yeah.
And like Mountain Goats, I've gotten like a bunch of people watching, even if like they couldn't all play and all of that. So because it's just good. And now I have little goat meeples. Which make me
Nice.
So cute.
I'm buying mountain goats right now. Hold please.
We'll throw-
I'm purchasing.
There you go.
We'll throw a link for All Play in the show notes.
Right, so there you go. If you're
As well
looking
as-
for, if you're looking to sponsor a podcast,
Don't. Nobody listens to this.
I think strategy wise, I am choosing, I think, to expand my time beyond a day pass. And because of the shenanigans, I think I want to prep something, an RPG to play either at a random table or in a suite somewhere. So that I have that ready, so that I know I'm going to play
Mhm.
That's a
something
good idea.
that I want to play.
All right. Well, with Tim, we've got 5 players then.
Right? Yeah,
there you go.
stupid.
can.
All right. Cool. Well, so I said an hour here. We're pushing 2 hours, so I guess we probably ought to wrap this up. I'm just gonna steal whole cloth from how we roll. Do you guys have anything to plug, share, or mention before we wrap this up?
I
Uh,
can't.
Can't talk
Listen to
about it.
Legends of Tabletop. we're running stuff. All my stuff's on your podcast, John. I have nothing else to plug.
Deaths and Dorks. We have games and stuff. I don't know. I'm just the editor in promotions. So
Hey, editors are potentially one of the most important jobs.
Potentially. That was a qualifier. That's an interesting thing to say.
Well, because you need the initial creator too. Without the creator, then the editor doesn't have a job.
Yeah.
But outside of that,
who would I direct all my thousands of Google Doc comments to if Kyle didn't get the game first? That is lowballing for one of the games. So I'm super nice, I swear.
Just prolific.
Well, I feel like I have advertised like, I don't know, half a dozen different cool games and things on this episode. So like reference any of those and go run your next game virtually on Alchemy RPG because I think it's awesome.
There you go.
No, I wrote it as a note to check out. So
As far as us, I guess, I Leslie and Jesse and I talked at PAX. I think we're gonna maybe run some more one-shot stuff next year because we tend to only play campaigns that last forever until they fall apart, and then we don't play those games anymore. So I don't know. Maybe we'll have more one-shots. So Chad, Amy, if you are both interested in jumping into some games,
always in.
Excellent.
Y'all are awesome. I
More
appreciate
players, more potential GMs for me to play.
Listen, my goal almost like the last 2 years has been to run more stuff, and I keep eating just like playing.
There we
stuff.
go.
So eventually, I will actually get my shit together. I mean, I have to run this at Origins, so I got to get my life together.
Well, if you want to do a couple of prep runs, we're there for you.
Yeah.
There you go.
No, I mean, I was like, can I crochet a swimsuit and just like go in a beach costume? I knit a hat for a game that I demoed at last PAX, the Weird Elf. I knit a hat to match it. And then I was going to try and knit something for the Incredible Dream game I was going to demo. And I'm glad I didn't because I ended up demoing a different game. But I am extra. Like if I'm demoing, if I'm streaming, whatever, like I went and like found a Meeple shirt so I could at least be like somewhat RPG game-ish. I gotta
awesome.
be dramatic.
It's a good impulse.
Oh, you dressed up for the vampire stream a couple
Yep.
weeks ago too. Yeah,
That was exciting. I am probably going to be on a stream on the 17th with Symphony Entertainment. One of the players is not feeling super great, so we don't know if we're going to go through, but we'll let people know on Saturday. Kind of game time decision for that. I already have an outfit picked out, and I'm going to do super dramatic holiday horror makeup.
Ooh, yeah.
So
Awesome.
it'll be fun.
that's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap this up. Thanks for checking us out. There'll be a ton of links in the show notes after I update. I have like 12 tabs open right now. So cool. Let's check those things out. Patreon, whatever. It doesn't matter. We're streaming things and doing stuff. Maybe next year there'll be a new version of Cthulhu. Probably. Jesse will shame me unremittingly until I actually finish it. So that'll be out.
That's my job.
Jesse shaming me is the only reason that the first version got done.
And then you're going to charge money for it.
Right.
Yep.
Then the next one. Yeah.
I'm like that personal trainer that yells at you and tells you how weak you are so that you keep going.
I'll be nice and be like, you're totally worth it. Let's go.
Sweet. All right. Thanks a lot, everybody. We'll catch you next time.
Thank you. Good night.
Peace.
Good night.